Dave!
Hello,
It's
Daniel.
nice to see you again. I kinda blew you off at least once because I'm not in control of my calendar. But we found a recording slot. So nice
We
to see
did
you.
indeed. And you too, man.
How's it going?
Yeah, it's going. Stuff's good. Yeah. I'm trying to think. There's quite a bit that I can probably catch you up about here or there with what I've been doing app-wise, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. But calendars notwithstanding, Daniel, how are you doing?
I met a cat the other day. I was on the way to choir practice, which is fun, by the way, but not my fun thing today. And there was this black and white cat, and he or she came up to me and was like, "You're going to pet me, right?" And so I petted them, and it was very nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
When a cat demands you fuss them, you are obliged to do so.
I am indeed. And so that was really nice. Should we? I should do what podcast is this? What podcast is this? I think it's the podcast called Waiting for Review, a show about the majestic indie developer lifestyle. Join your scintillating hosts to hear about a tiny slice of their thrilling lives. I'm Daniel, a druid, and I'm here with Dave, a rogue and or warlock. Join us while waiting for review.
And or warlock, yeah, thank you. That's a nice addition.
I think you're dual classing or something.
Possibly. I think I would have traditionally gone in for being a druid in anything that let me choose those options.
Probably. Like I was gonna call myself a druid wrangler, and then was like, what am I gonna call Dave? And then because like I'm doing so much stuff with Apache Druid these days, I'm gonna tell you about it later. And so I was, what am I gonna call Dave? And then I was, I'm just gonna call myself a druid, and then you can call you another D&D class.
Yeah. No, I'll take it. I'll take it. Rogue / warlock. That's yeah.
Roguish too.
Do you know, I know so little about D&D that I couldn't even really tell you what a rogue exactly does.
Thing is, like we had a phase in my life where I played so many tabletop role-playing games, like in a standing group. But we always played the Black Eye, which is a German RPG system that is very similar to D&D, but kind of different. Or we played GURPS, which is also another system. So I think I must have like hundreds of hours of tabletop RPG experience, but like almost like maybe 3 hours D&D or something. Baldur's Gate not counting.
I should know more about it. Like my eldest son was into it for ages, and he was what's the word, dungeon master and everything. Yeah, but they never managed to suck me into it. So
bummer.
Here I am, clueless about these things.
I actually, whenever I meet Lisa's kids, they are like, they tell me they need to have more adventure, and like they're so into fantasy, but like somehow they want to play fantasy themselves. And I'm like, I'm gonna gift these kids the starter set for the Black Eye for Christmas, and so I ordered it from a book retailer that is not Amazon, and they had the option of gift wrapping and everything, and it was said to be arriving like December 15th or something like that, so like very manageable. The package still has not arrived. On the website it is listed as preparing for departure or whatever. So every now and then I kind of remember that, and I'm thinking I should probably call them, cancel the order, order it somewhere else or something.
That's really bad. Sounds like you should be delivering them the Black Eye for that. I don't advocate violence. It's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, we have sections now, and the first section is Good Thing of the Week. So, Dave.
Good thing of the week. Good thing of the week.
Good thing of the week.
I have one good thing two good things masquerading as one good thing. So to title it as one good thing, films. Films have been brilliant lately, but of course there's a plural there. So 2 films in particular I have really enjoyed lately. So Predator Badlands, I watched that last week. Really enjoyed that. So yeah, I don't know. That's if you like those sort of films, I think it's a pretty good addition to the whole thing. And I know that there are some people who are like, oh, it turned it Disneyfied. It's not really a Predator film, and I don't care about their opinions. I really enjoyed it. So
Fantastic. Is that new?
yeah,
Like I'm kind of
yeah, it's like
I'm
the
kind of out of the
latest in the
loop.
Predator franchise. Yeah,
I see.
but it's kind of fun, and you've got Predator, who's kind of the runt of his family, and it goes from there. And not really any humans in the film, which is fun. Um, and that's about as
So what
close to
what is
spoilers
the
as I'm going to get.
what is the predator hunting, if anything?
A big
Hunting for
monster,
love.
a big monster, so he can prove his honor to his family. And
Nice.
again, I'm going to steer clear of spoilers. Um, But yeah, and the other film was the latest installment of the 28 Years saga. So, 28 Days, if you remember the zombie film from
Right,
like
right. I've watched the
way
first
back.
few, but I'm still on the weeks. I watched the weeks one, but not the years one, I think.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure if I would class Weeks as existing in the whole thing. Like, it's sort of, yeah, that's where I get a purist on these things, right? Is it in the official canon? No. So yeah, 28 Years Later came out last year, and they filmed two films back to back. And 28 years later, the first one was, original director, and I think the original writer. It's like sort of heralded the like team coming back together, at least, or at least the director. Again, I'm not the film buff in the family, so I may be wrong here. I just enjoy watching the things I like. But yeah, and the second one came out in the cinema. I went to go and see that a
There's
couple of
two
weeks back.
28 years later movies. That makes a
That's right.
lot of sense because like I was like confused because I was like, did that come out last year?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's also why they're so close together as well, because they film them back to back and, like, as one was released, the other was just coming out of post or whatever. But, yeah, the second one, really lots of fun, very different vibe to the first one, and obviously violent as all hell in the middle of it. Um, but, yeah, a lot of fun. So, if you
Awesome.
like zombie films or things with a bit of a violent nature, but also with a bit of humor in there, this one actually. Um, yeah, worth a watch.
Awesome. Yeah,
Those are my good things.
I might actually have a watch. I watch this YouTube channel and every now and then, which is like VFX artists explain or something like that, where like they explain VFX shots. And they had 28 years later, and there appears to be like a village, and that village is kind of connected to the mainland
Mhm.
via a very small road that kind of gets flooded when there's or like that is
When the
like
tide's
covered by
in.
the sea when the tide's in, right?
Yeah,
And so they had like a lot of like explanation of like how would you do these shots? Like how would you film that? Can you film everything on location, whatever? And that was kind of interesting. So I might have a
yeah.
watch just for that.
They filmed an awful lot of that with things like drones, and they used iPhones in some of the filming. So there's the point in the first one, the one that came out last year. Um, they had this rig with multiple iPhones. I think it was set up in such a way where somebody could wear it, and then they used the multiple iPhone. It would be the iPhone Pro. Use that to then get these various different shots with all of the footage at slightly different angles and things, so they could cut
Kind of
between
cool.
it.
So
Yeah.
basically, what you're saying is that this podcast is shot on the same equipment that major movies are being shot on, which is cool.
Hmm. Um, yeah. So no, if you like anything like that, definitely check the first one and the second one out. Like, I feel like you need to watch them together, although they are very different films.
Yeah, I should get back into movies. Like I used to be such a movie buff, or at least like hobby movie watcher. But like these days, I don't know. Like I feel like I have like so many things to watch, so little time that I usually decide on YouTube or TV shows. But I am actually gonna plan on watching the Project Hail Mary movie when it comes out because I really
Yeah, me
enjoyed the
too.
book.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I'll be
Anyway,
I'll be
my good
taking.
thing
Go for it. Yep.
Sorry.
Your good thing,
My good
sorry.
thing is a very niche thing, which is the Cosmere Deep Dive podcast. So, as you may know, like for the last 100 years or so, for the last 8 months at least, like maybe even longer, I've been on this streak of reading books by Brandon Sanderson. And like this guy has written so many, and they are all kind of interconnected in a universe that is called the Cosmere. And so I found this podcast which discusses all these books. And what is awesome about this specific podcast is that they have a fantastic cast. Like all the people who are in this podcast have very distinctive voices and personalities, which just makes it way more fun to listen to. And also they have different things that they enjoy about the books. And the other thing is they have a really cool premise, which is like one of the 4 people on the podcast has actually not read the books yet. And so this guy, who's actually also called Dave, by the way. So this guy reads all the books in publication order. He reads about 50 pages a week, and then they record another podcast. And he tells about what he has read, and they discuss it and everything. And then they kind of throw him off the podcast and discuss everything else, like with the spoiler part, like with all the knowledge, and they're like, oh, he's already caught on to this thing, which is foreshadowing a thing that happens like way later or something like that. And because I currently enjoy these books a lot, it's also really enjoyable to then later, once I finished, like I want to say I'm like 4 or 5 books ahead of my current play position in the podcast, because of course I started at the beginning. And so it is a really nice recap. And also I'm far enough ahead that even in the spoiler section, they're not spoiling me, because they are kind of ruthless. Like they're saying that, okay, the spoiler section is for the people who have read basically everything. But like, just because like these episodes have come out in 2022, maybe, like, or even earlier, like they are as far as I am.
Yeah. Yeah. So there'll come a point where you have to keep it in cadence with where you're reading. Otherwise,
Right. I did that the other day. Like there was a short story they were talking about, which I'm like, oh, I haven't read that. So I kind of paused. I didn't listen to I stopped listening to the podcast until I had read the short story.
I'll tell you what, though, I'm going to call him Other Dave on that podcast. I kind of feel for like, do you think if that was you on a podcast in that way, do you think you'd be tempted to tune in to the half that you're not allowed to be in?
Well, yeah, I could not do that. I could very much not do that. And apparently, like they have a thing they say, like whenever he asks a question that will be answered later, but like they can't tell him yet, they tell him to RAFO, which is RAFO, read and find out. And I would be so annoyed at that.
And how does he stop himself getting spoiled by the community like that? That you've almost got to be like,
I mean, you kind of
no profile anywhere else.
You have to kind of seek it out, right? Like there's Reddits and whatever. Like, I don't think the community is like structured in a way that people will like go out of their way to spoil him.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. But I mean,
like, I'm not in that community really, like online. So, but I don't think that these readers of these books are like actually malicious towards these people.
No, okay, that makes sense. But I'd be like, is this somebody who's going to be in like social media incommunicado for as long as he's reading these books?
Probably not. Like they have like Twitch and everything, and like a Discord or whatever. Like that's what they're talking about. There was like, oh, I posted this into the I drew a picture of how I view this, and I posted it into the Discord. And I was like, oh, come on, my friend, put it into the show notes. I'm not gonna open the Discord app. Like I haven't done that in 20 years, which I probably should.
You probably should, although they're probably going to ask you for your face. So there's always that.
Upload your passport so that Peter Thiel has your passport data.
Yeah, and we have a Discord. Well, there is a indie dev Discord channel that is attached to this podcast, in as much as we
which is very cool and very recommended.
Join it. Yeah. However, there's something that I do need to think about is whether I want to keep that there or discuss moving its home, because I'm not really feeling it with Discord these days. And
you could just leave it as. I mean, I like the whole situation is like changing, right? So I think like Discord is actually like kind of stepping back a little bit, or backpedaling even.
Okay, that's good.
And also like from what I've read, which is not a lot, so correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've read, it's also like that you like if you don't do the age verification, you will just like be in the you're a minor mode, which is you can't join channels and servers that are marked as explicit or NIST FW or whatever.
Which really might not
So
affect the one that we link from here, the indie dev
yeah,
one at all, because yeah, honestly, like there's probably I'm probably worrying about it too much, but yeah, I did see all the furore with Discord, and I was a little bit like,
yeah,
might be
like
time to look for something else.
the whole age verification thing is just ludicrous because it's such a weird combination of like right-wing politicians trying to like just do a law and order thing that will not really have any of the intended effects, and
No,
like tech oligopolies, tech billionaires
careful.
trying to grab as much like personal data and identification data as possible. Like,
Yeah, no need, don't need it. But moving on, because we do have regular sections, I want to keep us
we do
within the
have
regular
regular
sections,
sections.
because
Yes.
and I'm looking down our regular sections, and we've got chores and homework, Daniel. You
Yes.
set me chores, and I think I set you chores. Where are we with this?
Right. So, my chore was to call my health insurance to force them to assign me a proper physician in Hamburg. I am sad to say I have not called my health insurance, but I actually have a proper physician now because I finally
That's
got
cool.
an appointment through the regular system.
Hmm.
So that is done, even though I couldn't bring myself to have like a long and uncertain phone call, which is kind of a shame on me.
Well, you know what? I still think that qualifies as like the major reason for the chore being done, right? The major reason was to have somebody local that you can go and see as a physician, and that's now happened, right? No, that's
Yes.
there. Yeah. So no, good on you, Daniel. I will actually 2 thumbs up for that one.
Lucky me. How about you?
How about me? Well, mine was that you sent me the assignment to make sure I'm posting videos to social media again for my apps and things that I do with video. And I had 3 videos with a driving beat. Now
And
I
you
need
very
to
much
check back my
delivered because I've
feeds.
seen
Did I?
those. I've seen
Yes.
at least 3, if not 4. So I am very proud of you. These are awesome because they have good music, which is very important in my opinion for short videos. And they are not like highly polished or anything. They're just like, here's what I'm doing. Like, this is cool. And they're awesome. They're exactly what I envisioned. And I would like to encourage you to continue on that vein.
Thank you. I will definitely do so. So honestly, I think probably one of the things you can best set me as a chore for my own self here is a bit of a lazy one, but it is the same chore again because it's clearly helped keep me on target. So,
All right.
but we might be able to up the ante a little somewhere within that. So, yeah, how do we up the ante on that? We had 3 videos with a driving beat, and obviously I've had a bit of a leeway on that in that it's been slightly longer since we last caught up. So that made it easier to achieve that.
I know
Yeah.
how to change this.
Hmm.
Specifically, I'm asking you to use a trending sound.
Okay.
So depending on the platform, if it's Instagram or TikTok or whatever, you will have to have the option to add a sound and or music, right? And pick one from the trending now section.
Ooh, that's always painful. Um,
I mean, usually there's like for me at least, there's at least one really catchy song in there that
mhm.
is actually kind of cool. Like I've actually discovered music through TikTok, which
I'll tell a lie. I did use a trending one a little while ago. I think one of the ones I've posted recently is like since we last spoke has used a trending one. So I think I can go for that. I think I can make that work. Although I have managed to lose the ability to post with, how can I put it? I am reduced to using Instagram's catalog of audio because it's flagged me as a business account, which is true. And I accept that. That's fine. But then there's a
the
whole load of
same on
stuff I
the
can't post with.
yeah, I have the same on the main telemetry deck account. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
if you can't do the
TikTok is
trending sound,
otherwise. So
then
let's see. Yeah.
huh,
TikTok I
all
should
right.
be good. So
Let's see.
yeah, I don't feel like I'm big enough on this stuff yet to really be coping for
Well,
that, but never mind.
Yeah, let's do it above board and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me,
But I'll do it.
I forgot. Like I did a thing that is writing documents, but I can like, tell you about this later actually, because there's just a thing I did that was a chore that I had all week. But you know what? My next chore should be getting back on the bike, at least on the indoor
Okay.
bike or something, because I have been sick for a while, or I was sick for a while. Then I was visited, or like we had visitors. My mother-in-law was visiting, and so
Yep.
I should really like, because I haven't been on a bike for 10 days, 12 days, and that is
Okay. So it's been a while.
totally not okay. Like I have a tentative time slot now to cross the Alps on the first week of September. So like
Now's a good time to start.
urgency is there. And like I have
Yeah.
some like my whole like my muscles are there and everything. So like I just like need to be sure not to let them atrophy, and like get them up.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my chore until the next time we record.
Cool. And
Get back into
we're not going to make a distinction as to whether that's an indoor bike or an outdoor bike, right?
Because like
Yeah.
depends on the weather. Like I would love to go outside again, but like right, I'm not biking in the snow and ice. Like that's just totally not my thing. I'm lying. Like I have biked in the snow and ice in the past, specifically on the countryside when there's like really nice, deep, powdery snow. It is incredibly exhausting, but in a fantastic fun way, and it's like really fun. But like here in the city right now, like if like the sidewalks and the roads are just like covered in black ice, that's just not something that I want to do. So that's where the indoor bike is like the better choice.
Fair play. You just reminded me, like the phrase that came to mind as I was writing in the notes of Daniel to get back on his bike was we could have a show title of On Your Bike, Mate. And I'm sure I used that a year ago when you were getting into cycling again at a similar point. So anyway, that's me. I'm trying to keep track of if we've got a show title along the way. But we can figure that out at the end of the show. There's more yet to come.
Right. Next up is other topics.
Well, just one last thing on the chores is that we did suggest to everybody to go out for a mental health walk, whatever movement makes sense for you, but to get out and go do so. And I don't know whether listeners did too much of that, but
I got like 2 people who I know messaged me privately that they did go on a mental health walk. So I'm very proud of you two.
Awesome.
And
that counts.
Yeah, we should have another chore for the listeners. What do you suggest? Any ideas?
Right. This is one that people are perhaps not going to want to hear, but in various parts of the world, there will be a tax year ending soon-ish, in the next couple of months or so. All right. So I'm telling you now, start filing your receipts. If that applies to you, if it's coming up at any point in the next sort of 3 months timing, now's a good time to start filing your receipts. Please do it now. Future you will appreciate this.
I like that. I was gonna go for something Ramadan related, because that's just started at the time of recording. Even on Ramadan, you can just like do your taxes or like prepare your taxes. Do it in the evening. Have something to eat before.
Yes, after you've eaten. And no, right. Other topics. I don't have any other topics to pull into the show, but I do want to tell you about how my apps are doing. So let's get right into what is probably really the main reason for the show.
How are the Lightbeam apps doing?
They're beaming. Daniel. So
are you.
Thank you. 2 things have happened in the last few weeks. When we last spoke, I was kind of wondering whether I was going to give up on the whole like custom GUI idea. Yeah. So if you haven't heard me talk about this nonstop over the last few months on the podcast, I am making my own Swift UI, like at least at the point of use in an app, GUI for Swift to let me do some very integrated stuff with that GUI that will be good for the performance of my apps, and B, lay the door open for cross-platform things, and C, to kind of sidestep some of Apple's annual shenanigans with updates and things, and also to see if I could.
Hmm.
Yeah, so this is actually like kind of breaking news for me in my life, but like I managed to make it actually have some decent performance the other day. Yes. So it was already performant enough for like simple scenes and things. It's been like, hey, we've got some actual confetti on the video. Nice one. Yeah. And I can't remember if I kind of spoke to how this had been going on last time, but like almost since the beginning of January, I realized that I'd intro- I brought some new things in that I really wanted it to have to be able to start developing a new app with it. And we're talking things like I had a list component in there because lists are kind of fundamental to a lot of apps, and I really needed it. And added sheets, the concept of sheets, and being able to present content on top of other content. And yeah, somewhere along the way, stuff got knotted up with things, and I've had a bunch of like edge cases and weed whacking and getting right into the guts of what this thing does all over again. I feel like I've refactored it now probably 3 times at least since starting the project, but I'm kind of okay with a bit of that in a sense of I've been learning along the way. So yeah, I only really just pulled out of that properly a couple of days ago as we speak. So I managed to get to a stage where things are now working in a way that I'm a lot happier with. Yeah, I'm getting a good frame rate out of it, which is important on our very high FPS devices. And I'm just so stoked. Like, I thought I was going to have to give it up, dude. Like, you know? And I was making plans already for the what if, and the what if was, it wasn't too bad. You know, I'd end up using Swift UI again. I would probably use Kotlin or Kotlin and Compose on Android, but then I would have a Swift library in the middle for the actual video effects bit that would be cross-platform. And that was going to be my backstop, but I'm much happier if I can just keep going with this, mate. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, um, that's going well.
Nice. So,
Any questions from you, Daniel? Yeah, you normally have a
what was the bottleneck?
thing.
Like, do tell about the bottle.
Yeah, okay. So I'm wondering how into the weeds I get with it or not, but um, I had I had several bottlenecks to do with how the views are measured as they lay out. So it was starting from a immediate mode, um, an immediate mode engine. So it's executing everything every single frame a second. No caching. Everything's being remeasured, reapplied each time. So there's some obvious bottlenecks there that I was able to sort of go, yeah, okay, we're going to start caching measurements and applying a diffing mechanism between frames so that if stuff literally hasn't changed since the last frame for these things, then I can pull stuff out of the cache. There's a bunch that I was laying down that was helping there, but it turned out the bottleneck really wasn't where I thought it was. And this is one of the reasons I kept coming up against it again and again.
Hmm.
Because I'd let Claude take the wheel earlier on in development, there was a point in which I kind of submitted to the way it wanted to go at the time before I got some guardrails up. Yeah. And that was that I was using singletons within
Hmm.
the whole stack. And that wasn't specifically the bottleneck, but it hid something else that was going on below it. And part of my weed whacking has been to go through and actually rip all of the singletons out and then have things properly injected. And that's been able to simplify some of the way things are tested. That's then also then meant I've been able to find areas that were not optimized in the way I wanted as a result. So that's been a benefit to getting that sorted. The bottleneck was buried under a singleton, and it was to do with it was using reflection and in such a way that it was a very expensive operation. So where that was going on, that reflection was causing a load of casting that didn't need to happen. As I ripped that out,
Wait, a lot of casting?
Not casting, rather, like allocation of memory in the
I see.
process. Yeah. Excuse me. 4 hours sleep the last night. But yeah. And yeah, by removing that and getting things working in a much better way, that has then been the biggie inside of all of it. So yeah,
So
happy with that.
nice. You're in basically like you live in one of those YouTube videos that I sometimes like to watch where they optimize game engines and stuff like.
Not quite. I need to be honest about some of the process as well. So some of this is about me having enough idea about what I want it to do and how I want things to feel in terms of like a big part of this for me is I don't want to be writing apps and views in this thing in a way that I feel is ugly, right? So actually having very close to Swift UI, but then actually trimming off some of the bits of Swift UI I didn't really need to have has been one of the goals here, yeah. But in terms of the way rendering engines work, the way GUIs tend to work, I've been learning quite a lot of things on first principles, and even on second-hand principles, because the honesty here is that for some of this, it's very much been a case of working with things like Claude Code to go, hey, here's the state of things, here's where I want to go, this is how I want this to behave, what are my options here? And then it's then been presenting me with options, and I've had it's like one of those choose your own adventures, right? You know, where if you remember the books where you could, um, you know, go to page 53 if you take one route or whatever.
Yeah.
It feels a bit like that. Yeah, you end up with like, okay. And so what's been happening is that my knowledge has then been building as I've gone through several rounds of this. Yeah, okay, when I did that before, this has not worked out so well because actually this has caused this other side effect or issue where it made this other end of things really top heavy. And so I've been getting gradually more and more informed about how I want it to work and what I want it to do as I go. Um, so yeah, again, I feel a bit guilty about this. I probably shouldn't. Like in terms of this is something I knew not a lot about. I've used these tools to kind of present me with the routes that are available. Made some dumb choices, made some better choices, and then I've iterated that.
I mean, that sounds fantastic though. I mean, like obviously if you don't have the experience, there's only one way to gain the experience, which is to like of course read up and stuff, but like some of the mistakes you're just gonna make yourself if you wanna reach the good spot, right? So that's awesome.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I did do some reading up of things as well. But I mean, what I found was that a lot of this stuff is very centered around object orientated programming, C++ or Rust or that end of things, right? And so concepts could be reapplied, but then how to actually pull those together with a factor of going, okay, I want this to actually be a kind of composable DSL that's struct based and is in Swift, you know,
Mhm.
like I've had to translate a lot of that. So there's been a lot of like, this is pointing in a direction that I think is going to be good, but actually how this is going to reapply to the other constraints I'm giving. Like an LLM's been really useful for that, to be honest, to then sort of play the two sort of things off against each other. But I do need to sit down with it and get deeper into some of the guts of it because there's clearly bits buried in the back of this that it's done for me. And I could stand to know a little bit better about what's going on in there as well. But at the moment, I'm taking the win. Like things are now reaching a stage where I feel happy with how it's working.
Totally.
Yeah.
So do you think like you're gonna try and implement a few user interfaces with it now? Or is that still is oh well, like what is in between now that kind of that checkbox has passed? Like
hmm
what is in between using the thing to implement and now?
Yeah. Great question. So I've been playing with a demo of a app that you may have seen on my social media,
Hmm.
which is a video triggering app, specific type of video triggering app in that it achieves quite low latency on triggering and on like playing forward, speeding up, playing in reverse. There's a lot more that it's going to do than that, but this is the thing I'm building. That's using Swift UI at the moment for its UI. So that's a prime candidate for me to then pull into this and start making it work with VXKit. So that's what's going to happen. It's not a lot in between now and doing that. I could do that actually
Nice.
fairly soon.
And then
Yeah.
why are you doing that? You're gonna learn the next thing you need to do in the thing, of course, but like that's
Yep.
just life.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
I'm gonna find out where the next hairy bit of the yak is. Don't worry. But yeah, yeah. So it's all getting roughly where I wanted it to be.
Fantastic. I'm very much looking forward to seeing this in action. And also, like, I would like to request a 3-minute tour of how the API looks like in a future episode.
Yes, very down for that because I can walk you through things rather than hand waving a little bit as well. It's really hard to know where to start when giving an explanation of it without having somebody directing questions, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, we can do that. And I can even screen share because I don't mind
Awesome.
showing how some of this comes together. Yeah.
Awesome. I
Cool,
have
cool.
telemetry deck things, and there are actually multiple telemetry things.
Let's go.
The thing that gives me the most joy is we have a new logo, which is basically this incarnation of Sandrine that is like made by my buddy Florian.
Hmm.
Oh no, I have printed stickers now in that of that logo, but like they're actually not within arm's reach. So I'm gonna have to send you
So
pictures.
hard.
No wait. No wait. Look here. Like there are like I have vinyl stickers that are just like very applicable directly to any surface. And it's
Hmm.
just the black outline. And so the whole entire sticker is a black outline, and it's like a specific thing. Basically, I could
It's
use this to make
shiny. It's very shiny.
everything into merch. And I love that. And also there's like regular stickers. They are also awesome. And I am so happy to
Yeah,
have
you've
that.
just given me an idea. You've given me an idea. Can sort out my own sticker of Sandrine just with the assets because we've got my wife's got one of those cry cut machines.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
So
can totally do that. I'm gonna actually I'm just like send you the newest SVG version right now.
yeah.
Oh, it's PDF, but whatever. You're
Yeah, yeah, we
getting
can
a
do that.
PDF being dragged
As
full
much as I would love
color
a,
line.
a genuine artisanal telemetry deck distributed one, if you want to save the postage, that could be quite practical.
Okay, we can do both or something. But like, yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Yeah. And I like this incarnation of Sondrine 2026 is giving me so
Mhm.
much joy because look how cute that is.
Very cute. For
Adorable
listeners
AF.
for listeners of the show, I'm trying to think of the best way to direct them to seeing it. I would just check the YouTube, right? Find us on YouTube and have a look.
Right. Also I can also like post it. Like I'm gonna post it on the socials later, and then
Yeah. And then I can link it.
I'm gonna
That's fine. It should be in the
link
show notes for
the
you there
posts.
then. Awesome. Um, so that's cool.
Yeah,
New
that's cool.
year,
I have
new
like
year, new
replaced
Sandrine.
I have replaced the logo everywhere except on the main website. So if you go to any of our socials, of the Telemetry X socials, they have the new logo as avatar. GitHub has it. Also, the web dashboard has it everywhere. Just the marketing website doesn't. Changing that logo everywhere has been my ray of light in the last few weeks or days, where I'm like, okay, every time I'm like so done with whatever I'm doing, I want to have a little break. I just like, oh wait, the email templates don't have the new logo yet. You know what I'm going to do? Correct.
And everything just feels that bit more cleaned up afterwards. You're going around and going, yep,
Right.
you there.
And I love the old logo as well. Like Sandrine's inventor, my friend Charlotte, created the first incarnation of Sandrine. But with her blessing, this version is just way cleaner. It has like the friendly face is bigger, and the various like the landing legs and the antenna and stuff are like a bit more cleaned up. And I think it's visually even more pleasing. So yeah, I
That's
like
cool. And
it.
these things are iterative as well.
Right.
You know that is sort of part of the process. So no, this is cool. Dream 2026 looks very cute.
Awesome. All right. The other thing that I've been doing, which has been why I needed to have little breaks of like updating logos, is we've been applying for a grant, a state grant for innovative companies that are doing their own research and development. And you can basically apply for a tax cashback. And Lisa was like, you know what? Let's try this. Let's try this out. This is gonna be not a lot of work, and we're just like get some free money out of this. Would be cool. And I even found a company that specializes in helping other companies through this process. They take a percentage of the proceeds. So they are very motivated to help us get this grant, and they will guide us and coach us through this process. And guide us and coach us, they did not. Or maybe they did. I don't know. Like, I don't want to slander this company. But like what happened was they gave me a Google Doc to fill out with like, I don't know, maybe 20 questions. Each had like a little box underneath with had space for like 10 lines of text. So I wrote 10 lines of text in each of these. And then they were like, yeah, this is cool and awesome, but we need more information. Can you do a bit more? Like, can you put everything a little bit more buzzwordy? Like, put in some technical details that sound interesting. And I'm like, all right, like, let's. I mean, like we are innovative in a way that we do a lot of research. We have developed, or maybe I have developed, I don't know, like so many cool new things, but all of them are small. Like the big thing that is telemetry deck is built on like 1,000 small little inventions and like tryouts and trial and errors and whatever. But like, there's no one big buzzword that I can name. So I'm doing my very best, like trying to reformulate things in a very impressive sounding way. And then they're like, yeah, no, this is not enough. We need a bit more. Can you go into more detail? Like put like, for example, can you write that Apache Druid is using this kind of RAM? And I'm like, why would
it has no relevance?
Like, why this kind of, like, okay, like maybe like you need more RAM or less RAM depending on how you store the data or whatever.
No.
So like I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna use that line, put that in there. If they're suggesting it, like must be something. Right. And that happened a few times. And then they're like, right, no, you're not understanding. We need way more. And I'm like, all of this process, I'm like, please just give me like an example of the finished thing, like something for someone else, or like a description of what the end product should look like so I can help you work towards this. And that has been ignored somehow. It might have been.
Are they a legit company? I don't mean to slander what they're doing.
I think my main problem, like that is my problem, is that I tried to keep this task as far away from myself as possible. So I asked Lisa, just like give me the link, and I'm hopping in there every now and then, and I'm not like, I haven't even, like at the beginning I didn't even talk directly to the representatives. Like I'm just like looked at the links that Lisa sent me and like just like was like, okay, I'm just gonna write this down, whatever. So what I should have done is actually from the very beginning, like involve myself into the whole process, and then like get the information that I did get. Here I am, like deep in this iterative cycle. I'm like so mad at everything. And like finally, like they're like, no, like go through the entire, like for these like 6 subcategories of like research and development that we kind of already like decided on like going for, like for each, like give me 5 bullet points of 5 sentences or something, and then like go into detail of what did you do. So that is what I did over the last few days. Like I pulled like basically put everything aside because the deadline is kind of looming at the horizon next week, and just like put in every little thing in a way that is halfway understandable, but like still a kind of like, I'm trying to have like a kind of an academic style, because I'm hoping that is what they're going to use, because it should like sound kind of like researchy, right? So I'm like using the passive voice and stuff like that. Yeah. It was decided, it was evaluated, stuff like that. And so in the end, I have now written over the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 work days, at least 9 or 10 pages of like prose about all the awesome things that I did for Telemetry Deck that make it cool and awesome, and actually like more than just slapping together a few existing products. And the process has actually been really helpful for myself, like for my imposter syndrome, for realizing, oh wow, like, yeah, like turns out if you just like if you just in quotation marks sit down and like push something forward a little bit for 5 years, then you actually reach somewhere. So yeah,
You have
that has been
indeed.
done. That has been done. I have just like before we started recording, I have received the answer, which is, this is awesome. This is really helpful. This is going to help us like finalize the grant application. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Of course, as you know, like the grant application, it can only be 4,000 characters. So I'm going to cut it down a little bit. But like, thank you. And I'm like, 4,000 characters. So that's why you see me with a bottle of beer in my hand today.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, they're going to cut it down to 4,000 characters, but I actually made a copy of that Google Doc and downloaded it as Markdown. And I'm going to, I don't know, like it's probably not something to frame, but like I'm going to put this somewhere, like on my desktop or whatever. Just be like, yeah, this is all the stuff that I did. It's in German, otherwise I would just send it to you or something.
Well, you could through something to translate, or I could.
Probably, yeah.
I'm actually wondering if you've got the beginnings of some of a blog post there across all of it as well at some point.
I think it's too much detail for blog post. Like,
okay.
Like this is like 5 blog posts or whatever. And then also like, this is basically like, how would you re-implement the whole entirety of telemetry deck?
Yeah, which is not necessarily
Which I'm not like trying to hide anything, but at the same time, like I don't want to like give an exact step-by-step instruction manual to someone else.
No, that's fair. That's fair. But I tell you what, it will be a good document to have on hand to mine for bits for things like that in the future.
Oh, yeah,
like
that's actually a good idea.
It's yeah.
Yeah, I could totally see that. Anyway, and the last thing that I wanted to talk about is I have like a Notion document or like a Notion folder actually that I called at the beginning your own personal Kafka, because
yes, I remember that.
I'm switching away from
you saying that.
Amazon Kinesis to a self-hosted Kafka message queue to move along telemetry deck events from accepting them at the ingest endpoint into like actually arriving at the database. And the process has been long, and like every now and then, like I try something and then like they fail in a way that gives me more information. Like I'm failing forward. I don't know what I called this the other day. And yeah, I have finally stopped failing. I have stopped failing. I'm still forward, but suddenly things are not failing anymore. So what is happening is that parts of our infrastructure are still on Amazon, and I want off that for various reasons. Not all of them are political or something. Like it's also just like more expensive. And so I can't use Amazon Kinesis anymore. And so right now, the ingest API containers live on Amazon, and they put stuff into the Amazon Kinesis, but then everything that is in that Kinesis is being copied into my own Kafka message queue. And so like imagine this like just like an endless array of events. And then so that works now. Like this cluster of servers that I have like spun up for that is now running stably. And then also I have like added various like stream processing. So like I want things not to like every time you send an event, it needs to be processed in some way. And I want to remove that from the point in time where it's just being accepted at the API, because that's like if things fail at this point, then like it will just be lost. And also if like a lot of people are like sending events at the same time, which for example, if I look at my data right now, should be happening
all the time
right now.
Yeah.
Because 7 p.m. local time, like one of our customers has a like specific thing where like everyone opens their app at PM, and they're kind of big. So yeah, I want to just like at ingest point, I want just like to accept the thing and put it into the message queue, do the processing later. So I have that running. And also I have a process running that is splitting up, like before we had like one message queue, and now after the processing, there's another process that kind of splits up each individual event and puts it into their own message queue. And that also works flawlessly. And like most of these message queues are just like going nowhere right now. Like they are not being picked up at the other end. But for about 200 telemetry deck customers, these are actually already being picked up and put into their data store, into their Druid data source from those message queues, from those split up message queues at the end of this new process. And so every day or so, and I'm like converting like 10, 20 customers over to the new process, and things are just working. It
That's
took a
cool.
while.
Yeah.
I was able to this time because like I burned myself too often. And it turns out that fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me 14 times. That's a shame on me. Anyway,
Yes.
so yeah, I've built all this infrastructure in parallel while still having the old infrastructure around, while all the load was still on the old infrastructure. And now I'm very slowly shifting the load in very gradual increments over to the new infrastructure in a way that like will take a whole while. But like so far, all the failures that have happened were not as stressful because like there was no load bearing infrastructure that collapsed. It's just like, oh yeah, turns out this thing needs a bit more disk space or whatever. This thing needs a bit more reporting so that I know when something is wrong. And so yeah, that. And today I put on one of the bigger customers. Like so far, like right, if you subscribe, if you create a new customer right now in Telemetry Deck, you will actually land on by default in the new, using the new message queue. So you're not even using the old stuff. But also like I switched over a really big one. And also that, like no one noticed.
So you've got a thing there. It's like you're turning off the tap of stuff in a sense, or rather rediverting the flow.
Right.
And yeah, like you say, not trying to move everything wholesale all at once, just bit by bit. Makes sense to me. I can understand why you didn't in the past as well, because you're like, right, new things working this way, try and do a bigger move all at once.
Yeah, it's also like, of course, like I have this cost counter in the back of my head, and I'm like, oh, if I would just like flip the switch for everyone, like, oh, that would be like a MacBook or two that
Mhm.
that I would just like not pay to Jeff Bezos.
Yep.
But I burned I burned my customers so often with like flaky performance. Like I'm on notice. Like I should be careful. Also, this is a good time to experiment, like because like once the system is actually in place and like under full load, like you can't
Mhm.
just like try out different pieces of configuration and stuff like that, because
No.
if the thing has to work, then like I should have tried to restore from backup a few times and like tried out, hey, is this more performant or this more like I should have done these experimentations. So that's what I did. And I'm
Yeah.
seeing light at the end of the tunnel, and it's awesome.
That's awesome. It's really, really cool to hear. And then, yeah, you get to say bye bye to Amazon as well in the
Right.
process.
It's not going to be like a complete bye-bye. Like a few of our customers have booked a service where we push their data into their own Amazon pipelines as well. So
Hmm.
that will stay, of course,
Yeah,
there. But like
that's not unreasonable.
I
That's if that's where they are.
I just like would like to stop paying for that specific big Kinesis message queue. And like, yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's cool.
things are progressing forward. So that's kind of nice.
And we've
And I'm going to
both got to similar
celebrate that.
stages in our own respective ways, I think, in the last few days. That's cool.
And I was so looking forward to finishing this too, and like being back on the front end more, because like, oh, there's so many cool things to do there. But I think these are my priorities right now, and you can't do everything at all at once. And so yeah, I'm kind of happy with that.
That's really cool. Daniel, it has been lovely talking to you, and thank you
It
for
has been
putting up
indeed.
with me, both Daniel and listeners. Thank you for putting up with me being on very little sleep, kept awake, and then rudely awakened earlier than I would normally be. So apologies if that's come across at all here or there, but
You are
I
fine.
should
You are
be.
fine. Like,
Uh, I'm well caffeinated, but I'm feeling it. Let's put it that way. If you've not
all right,
noticed, I'm definitely
all
feeling
right.
it already.
Then I'm hoping you will find space for a nap somewhere or something.
It will happen. Yeah.
All right.
But alrighty. On that note, Take us out, Daniel, so I can get a nap.
Thanks for listening. Please rate us on iTunes and YouTube. Send us emails at contact@waitingforreview.com. And join our Discord. The link is in the show notes. Dave, where can people find you?
Snoozing under my desk. No, you can find me on Instagram at Lightbeam Apps, or one word. That is my Instagram account. And also, obviously, find me in the show notes. All the socials are linked there as well.
Fantastic. And for me, you can go to Telemetry Deck at social.telemetrydeck.com, the company's account, because that has the new logo and it's very, very cute. All right. Have a fantastic day. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.